so that the ones that you found, that is 2018 and below, as you became governor, we have that value. And then for every year, you tell us how they build. 2018 and below, this was the amount. 2018, this is the amount. 2019, this is the amount. 2020, so that you have a good aging analysis. Because now this block 601 million, if you're disputing it, then you need to get to know how much has not been paid while you are governor and why it has not been paid. And that would be fair.
Thank you.
Chair, there is one thing that we are not even supposed to be wasting a lot of time with, because from my own observation, it's as if the governor has just seen his report today. I'm very sure there must have been a meeting between the governor and the auditors before they came before this committee. We shouldn't be too much into processing an information that should have been resolved, maybe at county level, because we have two different approaches to this level. We know the governor has our own report, the auditors have their own report. I think this matter should have been resolved even at the auditor's report level to the governor. So why is it being disputed now before the committee?
Yeah. Governor, I think you understand where we are coming from. We have talked about this matter for far too long. You must provide a solution. I don't think it is for us to give you the solution. And this blame game, auditor, county, the owner of data, the primary source of data must be the county government. The Auditor General is just an assurance. You are the primary data source. So you'll need to tell us, if you don't agree with the 601, then what number do you have? If you don't agree with the 1.2 billion, then what is the number that should go on record?
What is the source?
Yeah. We have agreed, we have communicated what we have no dispute about, because our issue is very simple. When they told us that we owe this much, they don't give us supporting documents. They just give us a list of people to pay. When you ask for the supporting documents, we don't have them in the county, and neither do those, wherever it is it came from, they don't have them either. So they can't be verified. But on the ones that can be verified, those are the ones we've told you we are paying. Because even if the Auditor General gives you a list and you pay, and it is found to be fraudulent, you will be held responsible for it. Because it is up to the county to verify and to use their internal mechanisms to have the original documents submitted according to law. So if documents are not submitted for that work and you cannot verify that the work has been done, you cannot pay. And that is the principle when I say we can't pay. However, the ones that are verifiable, those we have been paying. Now, one of the examples I raised even last year, and I think I mentioned this last year, a bulk of about 200 of those invoices were raised in 2017 between, I think, April and August, before the election, the last 5 months, 2017. Those bills were brought to our office in a carton. We couldn't verify any service that had been done between those 3 months. And then later, when in the process of that investigation happening, the gentleman who was claiming, we discovered that all of them, there were very many different companies, but they all belonged to one person. How would we pay? If we paid, we are the ones who would be in problems. Later, that person, when the investigation started, he was murdered. He was just called from his house. So that is what we're saying. When you hear saying there are some that will not be paid, those bills cannot be paid, at least not under my watch. Because there was definitely something going on.
Governor, where murder is involved now, it becomes criminal, and we need to be careful about that. But I'm looking at your financial statement. There is a schedule here listing details totaling to 1.2 billion. Are you saying that you have made that disclosure knowing full well that you don't agree with the figures, you don't agree with the details, and you're not going to pay? It is in your financial statement that you make declarations on matters that are binding. If I am one of those people claiming from the county government, and I've seen my invoice has been listed here, that gives me even additional impetus to go to court, saying that the county has already recognized my invoice as a valid payable. So I have a schedule here adding to 1.2 billion. How can you disclose it and then disown it? We must find a solution to this circus called verification. Every new governor verifies, and even existing governors are now verifying pending bills during their time. You know, that's why it's becoming ridiculous. It's not like you are elected at the last election. You've been there for 5 years. So these 5-year bills that are being disputed, some of them could have been incurred during your tenure.
Nope.
So how do we stop this circus where you have disclosed 1.2 billion in your financial statements, but in your oral submission you are disowning it?
Chair, I
Just a
actually don't
clarification.
have,
Point
I
of
don't
order,
have,
Chair.
Just a minute.
Just a clarification. You said
Sifuna.
there were some bills that were incurred months to the election. I didn't get which election that was. 2017. That was your first term when you were coming in or during your re-election? Okay.
And for the record, the governor has made this explanation before. Even that issue of the murder, I think we took judicial notice of it. But my problem is that we are not, we don't seem to have a solution. We don't seem to have a way of closing it.
Chair, that was what I was coming to, because we are now in 2025, Governor. That's 8 years ago. For the people of Kirinyaga, what solution are you proffering? How many times can something be vetted? And you know, if an entity such as yourself, you can take a decision. Is there a decision of your county saying we are not paying this money? Because once that is done, then it progresses to another forum.
Has already proclaimed herself that she's not going to pay anything any longer to pay.
That's not what I was asking. Governor, because you have done the verification, right? I believe there is a document or a decision of your county government, not you as Waiguru, but as a cabinet there, that these bills are not payable, do whatever it is you want to do. Is there such a document before us, a cabinet resolution? Yeah, so in the absence of that resolution, what the chair is saying, for as long as you disclose that these are pending bills, those people have a right to claim from you. You should be able to make it public that having gone through certain procedures, we are finding that these bills are not eligible to be paid, and you take us wherever it is you want to take us. Then it moves to another forum. It goes to the courts or wherever it is. And during that process, it is now incumbent on the person who is saying you should pay them to demonstrate that those bills are payable. But if it remains a matter within your county government, then it will just be stories like this during committee hearings, but nothing is moving. So we need you to give us that decision. Let the claimants know, let the people of Kirinyaga know, let the Senate know you are not paying this money, period.
And again, Chair, you cannot, Governor, say, I'm not going to pay. You have to say, because of A, B, C, D, I will not pay. But I'll request you, Chair, if we really want to close this matter, the OAG and the county, you need to sit together and see how you can resolve this matter once and for all. Because it will keep on recurring. And even if you leave, you will still leave it behind, which is not good for Kirinyaga people. So we must have a solution to this, and we close these books. Thank you.
Yeah, just wanted to borrow from Senator Lulo's thinking that if there are pending bills that are not eligible for payment, you must give that list and give the reasons why. For example, if there was substandard work that was done, or there is a claim for maybe a construction that was not done, and some of us might want to come to Kirinyaga and really establish whether that work was not done or it was done. Because if there's an invoice missing, Chair, especially at the advent of devolution, the documentation was not very good. But there's a classroom, an ECD classroom that was built, and it is in use. Only that there's some invoice, or maybe the tendering process was not done very well. Why then can't you pay that person who did that work? Because then we had just started devolution, and there was a lot of training and capacity building that was required. So maybe we need to know the real reasons why the pending bills prior to the governors coming to the county as a governor are not really eligible.
Senator,
Chair, quickly, if I were the governor, I would quickly absorb Senator Sifuna's submissions and advice. I think Sifuna just come out very, very, very intelligent to advise the governor. Because as much as this information is with the county government, then this matter will never rest. Let's proclaim myself that she's not going to pay and make it public. Then,
yeah. So we need to have a solution. I've sat on this chair, I've heard this story many times. And if you're not going to have a different resolution, then we'll be wasting public resources. EACC has informed us that they are doing some investigations on these ghost bills. I think something to the tune of 207 million or something along those lines. Without going into details, Patricia, is that the case? That there's an active inquiry on fraudulent bills?
Chair, it was for an amount of 160 million, and the challenges, I think, are similar as have been mentioned here with some of them, the supporting documentation and proving the legitimacy of the bills. The challenges are similar to what have been tabled here, but yes, Chair, there is.
And that was relating to 2019, 2020?
Yes.
Those earlier financial years.
Earlier financial years.
Of course, we sat here with the CEO of the EACC and the commissioners, and we are concerned that it takes too long for these investigations to be undertaken. Because if it's 2019, 2020, we are now in 2025, you'll definitely run into those problems of missing documents when it takes too long. Now, Governor, you recall when Ukuri Yatani was in office, he invoked Article 225 at some point in time to compel county governments to settle pending bills. And I think it was the right move because it does not tell you that you must pay the 601. It forces you to do quick decisions and to say the ones that you are paying, the ones that you are not paying, and if someone feels aggrieved, let them go to court. I think we might need to bring back the Ukuri Yatani resolution and ask Mbadi to invoke Article 225, especially where you have got huge bills. 601 million is 10% of your revenue. That's 10%. If a county has pending bills exceeding 10% of their revenues, then that county is in serious financial problems. But if we leave it open-ended, we'll be back here for the financials of 2024, 2025, and we'll hear the same story. Me, I've heard this story enough. So, Governor, what do you think is the right way forward to settle this problem?
Thank you, Chair. The first thing is that the Auditor General has to stop increasing pending bills every year. You cannot do audits in 2018. You give us a bill of 600 million and say that is your pending bill. And then you do another announcement in 2 years and give us bills not of the year between those 2 years, but 7 years ago, which you had not captured before, of now 1 billion shillings. I mean, even them, they need to also chair.
But Governor, before you turn your guns,
because they're the ones who bring...
just a question. As you turn your guns on the Auditor General, what about your internal audit function? Yeah. Because you have experts, you've got a function, you've got people who are involved in the procurement and payment processes internally. You are only going to the Auditor General for additional assurance.
It's not us.
Yeah, because, Chair...
Chair, we're not the ones who ask the Auditor General to do it. The Auditor General does it on its own volition and gives for the entire country. So it's not just for Kirinyaga. It's for all the counties. We've raised this matter at IBEC. And
what
Chair,
about your internal audit reports? Do you trust them? Are they verifiable? Have you done internal audit? Because remember when the court said that the task forces were a duplication, they said that your first port of call is your internal audit function. And if you are not satisfied, then you can ask the Auditor General to help you validate. So internally, yes. Do you have numbers that you trust internally?
Yes, Chair, and those are the numbers I have told you we have. The ones we have no problem we've been paying. And we have raised them with the Auditor General at IBEC, also with the control of budget. And we agreed this figure of 513, which we had no problem with, that's the one we've been paying every year. Okay? Then as we are just about to finish, They produce another list without anybody asking them and say, now you owe another 900.
Auditor General,
Yeah.
are you involved in this misadventure? Because I've not heard of the Auditor General imposing numbers on an entity.
Chairman, the Office of the Auditor General is not involved in recommending to counties which pending bill is payable or not. What we did was a special audit which was carried across all counties to inform the office the magnitude of the pending bills across the country. But we are not recommending to any county which bill is payable or not. We are actually
Chair,
auditing.
what I wanted to say is that when the auditor does an audit of the pending bills, then they give a finding. If you want to dispute that finding, you must do another audit with the internal mechanisms, maybe the internal auditor and your own people. So when you are disputing the internal, the auditor's report, do you have a parallel report, which then for us as a Senate, we can do comparison? Otherwise, when you just dispute without giving alternative findings, then it will become difficult for us.
Chair, we were asking the governor to actually tell us and tell the people of Kirinyaga which figures she is comfortable with. Because, Governor, remember you said when you got the figures, the initial figures from your people, you did not trust those figures. You called the Office of the Auditor General, they gave you a figure, you did not trust those figures. So it was higher. So which figures do you want to deal with? You don't want to work with the figures of the internal audit. You don't want to work with the figures of the Auditor General. So which figures do you want to work with?
And you know, you might be entitled to your own opinion, but you're not entitled to your own facts. Facts are facts. Yes.
And facts are facts. That's really the issue here. If you don't have supporting documents, even if you put the figure in a list, we cannot pay. It's just that simple. On what basis would we pay without supporting documents?
Governor, we are not even saying that you pay. We're just asking you.
That is what I'm saying.
What figures are you comfortable with?
I am not comfortable with any. I am comfortable with a figure that is truthful. Which is? I don't know. It is the one that has been verified. How can I say?
These are your financial statements, and in these financial statements, you have disclosed 1.2 billion. And you have verified that it presents a true and fair picture of the enterprise.
No.
Which other number should we rely on?
Chairman, I think let us now be honest and let's not pay to the gallery chair, with all due respect. Please.
Because we've said facts are facts.
Facts are facts. We've explained to you that this figure here that has been put by my team has been put there from a report titled, I've sent for it from the car, from the pending bill for Kirinyaga County Government from the Auditor General, signed by the Auditor General. So if the auditor are going to audit me, they already, even them, have that report. And if I don't write it, I'll be told I have no mandate to question the Auditor General.
Just on that point, do you have another report that is internally generated beside the one that you are citing? Because you have internal audit, you have internal mechanisms, you are the ones who keep the source documents.
Yes,
do you have another report?
Yes, we do.
And how do the numbers differ?
500, from 1 billion to 700 to 513.
So from a reporting perspective, because you are the CEO and you are CEC...
And that was for, sorry, Chair, that was from the first in Auditor General's pending bills report, which was 2018-2019. Then there's another report they have done of 2020-2021, which also gave us 900.
Yeah, but what about your own report? Because
we stuck to the 513, which we've been paying.
Do you have an audit committee?
Yes.
Do you have an internal audit function?
They went through the whole process of verification and everything. And we put it in writing to, I'll repeat again, Chair, to the Auditor General, through IBEC, and to the Control of Budget. And we agreed even with the Control of Budget that then let's pay the 513 that we can say comfortably has supportive documentation and you can prove that the work has been done. So the other one is still not verifiable.
So when do we get to the end of this? You have 601, which you have submitted to us, that is older than 5 years. Now you are saying that that came from the Auditor General's report, but I see it in your financial statement. So when do we close this, Governor? I think this is the 5th time I've sat with you in a similar meeting and you expressing similar frustrations. Let us find a solution.
Chair, can I offer
Senator Sifuna.
a way forward? I remember there's an entity, I don't know if it was Kisi, that found itself in the similar situation that Kirinyaga is in. That you have tabled to the House your own financial statements. They are your own documents, Governor. That is where the problem is. You have officers here, Edward Nyaga Njagi and Raphael Moura, who have signed and said they confirm the accuracy of these documents. That is where the problem is. There is a rule in law. I don't know if you have your county attorney there. Yes. Once you submit documents, Governor, for as long as the people who have received those documents can read, then oral evidence is not allowed to explain the contents of that document. You know, I'm also having problems with some document that was signed here in KICC and people are saying all sorts of things. But the document is there. People can just read. So this is the problem. When you say there is another document, you have to show us. You have to show us. No, not them now. Show the committee that this is the process that we have gone through. This is the document or the analysis we submitted to IBEC, because we don't have visibility of all those. We only have your financials, which, as the chair has rightly put, has a certificate. And these professionals who sign these things and put their ISPAC numbers here know what a certificate means. They know what it means when you say you are signing a document and confirming its accuracy. That binds the entity called Kirinyaga County Government from arguing against its own documents. Because these signatories are not members of COG. These are your Chief Officer Finance and the Head of Accounting, Raphael Moura, he has signed. There's another one who, they are the ones who have signed your financials, Governor. So if you dispute this, then you have to table separate documents that confirm the narrative you are giving us. Otherwise, how will we be able to follow?
Governor, with a view to a solution, we have I've had this story like a broken record now. Now we need to solve it. Senator Maruma, Vice Chair.
Just a last clarification for me from the Governor. Governor, you said that this figure of 587 billion, 14,000 million, yes, 14,000 was actually captured or might have been captured erroneously, because this then was as a result of money or a disbursement that did not come in good time. Is that still the fact? If then it is so, have you paid after that disbursement was made and maybe doing your first supplemental budget, have you paid this amount? Because you said it was captured here erroneously. It might not have really been a pending bill. It was actually as